The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting group. Access Fort Wayne is a department of the Allen County Public Library. If you or anyone you know might be interested in making a television show, please call 260-421-1250.
Hi, Dr. Rudy Cashman. Thanks for watching our show. Today, as usual, this half-hour show is about stopping, preventing, reversing diabetes. It's such an important opportunity because it can be done. You can prevent it 99% of the time. You can reverse it 90% of the time. 6 weeks, that quick, yeah. You may never heard that, but I know this field. I've been very experienced in it. I've had many patients do it. We can avoid 50 diseases. I think this spells opportunity. And I have books in front of you, which I'm going to hold up shortly. But first, let's sort of go through the history of diabetes a little bit, because it's interesting. Okay, it's now an epidemic. 1 out of 2 people is pre-diabetic or diabetic, yeah. And pre-diabetes and diabetes really are the same thing. I'd like you to know that. But there's type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is where you don't make insulin. Okay, the pancreas secretes insulin. It takes sugar. It puts it in the cell to make energy. So it's critical for our life. Okay, type 1 is thought to be, well, it's a virus, a bacteria. But I tell you what I found out since doing research too, people who have trouble dealing with gluten, the protein gluten, have increased rates of it, for one thing. Also, drinking milk, drinking cow's milk. Read Whitewash by Joe Keon. Whitewash, very scientific, 1,000 references in there. What he's saying is cow's milk is made for baby cows. It has different proteins in it. It has different sugars in it, depending on the species. In fact, if you were to go to the zoo and have different species, obviously there, if you gave the milk of one species to another species, that animal would die. Yeah. We humans can escape it a little bit. Yeah, it would die. Every veterinarian knows you don't give the milk of an animal to another species. Yeah, it's only to the same animal. So, type 1 diabetic, some of that can be avoided. Yes, because it depends on what the parents or the mother are eating or feeding themselves, or feeding milk to the child. For example, cow's milk to the child. Maybe they have genetically have a gluten problem. Need to know about that. What's most common? Actually, type 2 diabetes, where you make too much insulin, where these are receptors on your cells, and if you're eating too much sugar, it gets converted to triglycerides and make these receptors sticky, and insulin cannot get sugar into the cell to make ATP for energy. It's called insulin resistance. And the pancreas keeps on more insulin to get the sugar in, and the diabetes is getting worse, and eventually the pancreas poops out. Now you're a type 1 diabetic because you need insulin to stay alive. The trouble is insulin is also anabolic, makes you gain weight, stiffens your arteries, increases rates of dementia, skin diseases, decreases your immunity. So uh, insulin itself may save some lives. Some people, they absolutely need it. But actually, you wouldn't have any vascular disease if you didn't use insulin. Joseph Kraft, K-R-A-F-T, he proved it, 1975. Here's a book I recommend you read, Joseph Kraft. What he's saying is, should everyone be tested? Absolutely not. Only those concerned about your future. Yeah, he proved it. And he did autopsies and tested 14,000 people. Great book to read. You can get him on YouTube. He's 92 years old, but I tell you, his words are worth listening to. So let's keep on going back in history a little bit. It's been known about some form thousands of years. In the Egyptian papers, the Ebers papers, papyrus, about 1,550 BC, they called diabetes passing too much urine. That's all they knew. The people were dying because they'd been passing too much urine. So that's how they looked at it at that time, and it's recorded. Okay, at the same time in India, they called it honey urine, because it was sweet. They called it mat maha. That was the Indian term. Okay, and uniformly fatal. They were losing weight and waste to nothing and would die away. Okay, but they noticed ants were attacking the urine. They knew that much about it. And then 250 BC, a Greek physician, Apollonius, named it diabetes, excess urination. Excess urination. That's where the term came from. Then the first century A.D., a Dr. Cappadocius, he said it is melting down of flesh and bone into urine, and tasting the urine was the classic test. They would taste the urine, and it was sugary, and you had this disease. Then Matthew Dobson, 1732, 1784, he identified that sugar was the problem. And in 1797, Dr. Rollo recommended an all-meat diet, and they were saving the lives of some diabetics now. Mm-hmm. And so slowly the knowledge developed. In 1889, Dr. Manning and Minkowski from Strasbourg removed the pancreas from a dog, and they noticed he developed sweet urine. So they were developing the science of it. Then in 1910, Sir Edward Schaefer, who is giving credit for founding the field of endocrinology, and he worked out the chemistry of insulin, and because it looked like an island, that's the reason they called it that. In Spanish, insulin or in Latin, insulin means island. And at the turn of the century, Dr. Allen and Dr. Joslin studied around 1879, 1964, Dr. Allen. And what he would recommend, frankly, was starvation diets. But you can see that 1,000 calories a day, and certainly it saves some lives for a period of time, but that only lasts so long. You see, they didn't know the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. That was their confusion. And then Joslin from Harvard, Boston, 1898, he placed people on high-fat diets. And that seemed to save some lives. It's not any sugar. You don't need insulin. And then Frederick Banting and Dr. Bess and Dr. McLeod discovered insulin. What they did was took the pancreases of some cows, and they were in Toronto. They get the Nobel Prize for that. And their first child they saved was 14 years old. And they used to live, if you diagnose a type 1, about 18 months. But now, decades. And then they would manufacture insulin. Eli Lilly did that, and there was no patent on it. I'm sure the government decided that. So other companies could get involved with this. So part of the problem, though, at that time, remember, they recommend a low-fat diet. Remember, that doesn't increase the a high-fat diet, a low-sugar diet. As soon as they get insulin, Joslin and this group at Harvard start loosening up their recommendations, and the people start eating carbohydrates again, and they save them for a period of time, but that was not good advice, and it took them many years to change. That's the reason they called it the New Joslin diet. Okay, Joslin is a big diabetic clinic in Boston. Then for 50 years in this country, we recommended that people eat a high-carb, low-fat diet, which was the wrong advice. And they knew better, too. It was lobbying of the government. The government supports the price of corn and sugar and billions of dollars. And they formed the Sugar Institute, I think, which was really a lobbying group. It's about the money, honey. And all wrong advice. And then 1980, they formed a food pyramid, which had pasta and potatoes at the bottom. The government did that, yeah. The government recommended that, which was just absolutely the wrong advice. And now we have a nation where 1 out of 2, at least, or more, is pre-diabetic, diabetic. I would like to say that Dr. Kraft, it's all the same with a pre-diabetic, diabetic, because the complication, about 50 diseases that can occur from diabetes can occur in pre-diabetes, so it's all the same. And we're running blood sugars, glucose tolerance tests where you swallow something and they get fasting 1 hour, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, what Dr. Kraft recommends, and I recommend, is, and he recommends starting at age 3. Isn't that strange? For 10 years or so, I've been recommending age 2. I think people wondered what I was talking about. I like confirmation. Dr. Kraft confirms what I recommend. We should be telling children to get the test done, because we have a lot of diabetes in children now, and I'm sure most of them are diabetic. Many are undiagnosed. The good news is that I'm going to meet with a really good pediatrician, Dr. Giaquinta, I think in the near future. At least my tap dance instructor says she was a classmate with him. And he's going to bring his kids over there for tap dance lessons. And while they're taking their lesson, I'm going to meet with him to see what the state of testing for children in the state are. Maybe this could be turned into a huge opportunity to diagnose the children early, and then we beat the adults to the punch and can avoid a tremendous amount of illness. I'm very impressed from what I've seen Dr. Giaquinta speaking. I think he would go for that, and I hope and pray that he would become passionate about it, because we could really help a lot of people. Because diabetes, you don't want it. It has so many complications. Dementia, they start in the brain. Half of Alzheimer's disease is due to complications of diabetes. And I tell you, the science of it is, they discovered about 3-4 years ago that if you have diabetes, you have elevated insulin levels. You know that. That's been known for years. But insulin is responsible for degrading, putting sugar in the cells, for degrading insulin, breaking it down, metabolizing it, okay? Well, the other job of the enzyme that degrades insulin, get rid of it. IDE, insulin degrading enzyme. The other job is to degrade amyloid, which causes dementia and Alzheimer's disease. That's the good news. Get rid of diabetes, you won't need this. The insulin level will be much lower, and our memories will be better. Huge opportunity. Rudy's good news. Yeah, the science is there. It's all scientifically based. So I want to get early testing. I tell you one thing: if you're overweight and you got a pot belly, you got diabetes. You got to prove it to me you don't. Okay, and Dr. Kraft will say that in his book. That if you come with a heart attack to the emergency room, are you diabetic? I'm not diabetic, but he would say, because insulin causes inflammation and atherosclerosis, he would say, prove it to me. He said, sure. Biggest, insulin causes inflammation and vascular disease. Those sudden heart attacks can be avoided. Many times they're unannounced. No angel, nothing. You grab your chest and you're gone. That can be avoided. I mean, that's really, really good news. Another good book is by Dr. Joe Furman, End of Diabetes. Why did he say that? He agrees with me. Eat a nutrient-dense way of eating 70-80% of the time. I always recommend people maybe have a smoothie in the morning. What I like about that is full of vitamins and minerals, and it'll satisfy your appetite as a good way to get rid of diabetes. Have a salad for lunch, and maybe Dr. Furman would even say 20% meat, okay, organic meat or something with some vegetables. It'll take you 6 weeks or less, and you'll be rid of your diabetes. Yes, it's a many books. What does the book say? End of Diabetes. Incidentally, if you look at the back of this book, I think it's a hardcover. My name's on it. So I'm friends with Dr. Right here. My name's on it. Because I am friends with Dr. Furman, and because I feel he teaches the right way to do it. But I like confirmation. Remember I said that? So here's Dr. West Youngberg. Goodbye, diabetes. What does that mean to you? Goodbye, diabetes. What does that mean to you? Opportunity, right? Matter of fact, your blood sugars will come down to normal maybe in a week. Yeah. You get off of medication, especially oral ones. And insulin may be within a few weeks. Read Mark Hyman's book, which I don't have here. I have it at home. Although I do have a one-sheet thing with his recommendations. And Mark Hyman would say you need to get off your medicines quickly, but that's up to your doctor. But tell him what you're doing. And Mark Hyman describes, in which I recommend, and I have a one-sheet thing you can pick up at the Three Rivers Pharmacy back in Cordia High for free, how to test things. On the back, I have the complications of diabetes. I want you to know what they are. That might motivate you to avoid this illness, which I already mentioned: blindness, retinal diseases. Usually visual changes anticipate the diagnosis, 7 years or so. Rectal dysfunction about 3 years. But if you did the serum insulin test, you'd be diagnosed it 15 to 10 years ahead of time. A lot easier to get rid of it. You've had probably not the complications. You probably need to lose a lot less weight. And remember, there are some people that are the trophies. They're thin on the outside, but they're fat on the inside, and they can have diabetes. So it's not just your weight. 25% are the trophies. So blood testing are the answer. Blood testing. That's what I've got written out on here. Get a glucose tolerance test along with serum insulins and blood sugar. Your doctor will not think of it. No, guarantee it. Very few doctors are aware of this. Reasons I do not know. I think public health is missing the opportunity here. I went to the state public health to get them to change it, and they, in essence, stared at me And I gave them free books and DVDs to prove it all. Have they acted? No, they've not acted, but I'm acting on it. Reasons I don't understand. Industry lobbying. Is it the money? I don't know the reason. Let them get on TV and show you how. But get the testing done, even in your children. I don't care if they're skinny. Get a blood test done. Get a serum insulin done. Check the fats in their blood. Because if you can prevent it, you avoid all these unannounced complications. Probably I'll live to be 100. And if you don't deal with your diabetes, you may die very young. On average, you will lose 20 years of your life, 25 years of which there'll be disability. It could be amputation, dislocation, dementia, nursing home, or whatever. But Rudy's good news, it can be avoided, but you have to act, okay? You must act on it, which will kind of leads me to a cultural wellness circle, which I have here. You can get a copy of this also at the Three Rivers Pharmacy. What am I saying here? You have to participate in your health care. You know, unless you had a broken leg or an accident or something, you have to do some reading, go on the internet, get second opinions, but you have to accept some self-responsibility. Knowledge, so easy to get. I mean, just get on the computer, man. It just pours at you. Number two is, there's 8 things I have on here called the Magic 8. It's nutrition. Nutrition important. What you're eating is critical. Type of food. I don't recommend a diet. The type of food, because that is affected by your friends, the trillions of bacteria that live in your gut. Yeah. There's trillions of bacteria live in your gut. Look on YouTube, Cashman, Rudy Cashman. You can watch a TV show I did on that. You get buddies living there, and they determine the metabolism of your body. Don't take an antibiotic unless you need it 100%, because it'll wipe out the biome, and you'll have different guys living there, and they're going to have different metabolism in your body. This determines your health, your biome. So nutrition is important. 70-80% nutrient-dense food. If you're eating out twice a day, you get a problem. I know many multimillionaires, maybe even billionaires, some who have big success, huge companies, but they ain't going to live very long because they don't look healthy. They aren't healthy, and they know about this but don't act on it. But they're so important to our community, I wish that they would. But I can name you 5 right off the bat. And they're sincere people, but blind, okay? Physical fitness is important, puts you in the right attitude. It's a stress reducer, but I'll be honest with you, you're not going to burn off enough calories to undo bad eating habits. I studied the literature on that, and they found that people exercise more than eat more. I can't believe it, but it's true. Only 3.5% of the people who show up who belong to a gym. The gym's not the answer, but it puts you in the right attitude. You know what I mean? I walk on nature in the morning, and I'm singing songs, and like today, I'm whistling at the red-winged blackbirds who are following me around, and saying hello and looking at nature and practicing my music and singing. Oh, what a beautiful day. And so that's relaxing. So exercise is important, but it's not going to solve if you got an eating problem. Next, spirituality is helpful. I think you have faith in something that changes your neurotransmitters in your body, makes you more healthy. I recommend that. And this is be a way of life. Health is a way of life. And get the family involved, get the kids involved. I mean, I go to the Y and I see people there showing up with their kids and doing things together. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. I just hope when they get home they eat the right stuff too. Okay. And and the wonderful thing is that only about 2 or 3% of our genetics, our DNA that sends a message out to our body, is only about 3% expressed. 97% is called, through epigenetics, is expressed in the future by what you do, what you're eating, whether you're exercising, your stress level. Yeah. Even with the baby in the uterus, if you're eating the wrong food, you're drinking, you're smoking, you're a drug addict, you're going to affect the baby. The baby will be born addictive or overweight or underweight. So you need to know something about epigenetics. You can affect your gene expression, okay? Not everything is inherited. You may have some genes, but they don't express themselves unless you can express themselves favorably or unfavorably, depending. So it's really a great opportunity. And I'd like to know about the integration of the mind and body. Candace Pert in 1970 or so discovered these receptors that are on every cell of our body. And your thought process through hormones, neurotransmitters, neuropeptides, your thought process sends out chemicals that go to these receptors. So your brain speaks to your body. Then she finds out that your Army, Navy, and Air Force, your monocytes, your T cells, your immune system, also make a lot of these neuropeptides. So it's brain, body, and body-brain. We have these receptors all over the body, some places more than others. The heart has a lot of them. Skin even has them. So how you think and what you do is extremely important. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to integrate your mind and your body, how you're thinking, how you're acting, whether you're exercising or singing songs or dancing has an effect on the rest of your body. And then lastly of these 8, remember, you have this, put it on your refrigerator or in the kids' rooms so you have some idea what the Wheel of 8 is all about. And remember I said blood testing, the whole family. Put it in a computer or in a book, record it, and then once a year get the test done unless it's needed more frequently, and you can see trends occurring, okay? I'm talking about the routine tests. I'm not talking about 800 tests. Don't react to a provider gets 800 tests, and once you react to this rare thing, something, I noticed there's one doctor in town tells everybody you have Lyme disease and gives you a bunch of medicine. Baloney to that, okay? Not the disease doesn't occur, but not the rate that he's diagnosing it. But the main chemistry, get that done. Put that in a book, keep track of it. And so we catch things early. You can practice prevention, like I'm teaching here. So if you look at my diabetes show, 6:30 every Monday, other shows I have 6 o'clock Wednesday, you can go to Public Access 95.7. I get 2 shows on there, or I'll go to Amazon Books, I'll read some of my 20 books I've written. You'll get a lot of knowledge, and the knowledge is the way to stay healthy. I do these shows because I care about you, love you. I do it because I care. I'm a doctor. Who else can teach it? I think it's important. A lot of people get well because of it. But I'm just doing my job. I don't have to shake my hand, but you can buy me a cup of coffee or challenge me in pickleball, maybe tennis. And I'm going to be playing in the city tournament this year. Come and watch me. Okay. So maybe see you the next show and read some of our books. You can see me for free at the Three Rivers Pharmacy, where I see people free Friday morning. Call ahead if you would like. And I do it because I care about you. I love you. Thanks so much, and enjoyed the opportunity to converse with you. Bye. Have a great day. Sing a song.